We originally started with Field Construction Incorporated, and when we started Lee Mechanical, it was put in my mom's name and Brenda's name. Brenda's middle name was Lee, and my middle name was Lee, so that's how we ended up with Lee Mechanical. Lee grew really fast. We doubled in size every year for like 10 years.
Ernie and his father decided to split the two companies. Same company, same people, just changed names.
We did different things back then. We did a lot of HVAC work. We don't do it now. We didn't have phones, but cell phones back then. We didn't have, we had radios in our truck.
Contracts back then were unheard of. We have a lot of 100-page contracts now that are poured through. We did a lot of handshake deals back then. It was just a totally different environment than what it is today.
When it first started, it was there was 6 of us. We was on a project up at Sigma Chemical Company, and it just kind of grew from there.
Well, it was tough. We were a young company. We were still learning, how to handle this, that, and the other. But I just think Ernie and Brenda, the leadership, had a good eye on things, and they wanted to stay focused, and they did, and good things came. We got good breaks. Had hard times too, but the good things overweighed the hard times. So
when we first started, it was in our home in Bismarck. When I had Nick, Paul Lindsay run the office. I did not work there then. I worked at the school, and then we moved to Farmington. Lee Mechanical then went into the basement of that house, and our first office was in the basement of our home. And then they built the building behind.
Well, Ernie, I think he'd give you a shirt off his back. He was he was good to us, good to my family, Carrie and I, and, he'd give us a chance to work back when work was hard to find. I was very grateful for them for that.
And I think laying that foundation to surround himself with people that had knowledge that he could trust, and therefore he could empower them to get the job done, whether he was here or in his absence, really laid the foundation to be able to grow, because obviously one person can't do it all.
When I was working in a pipe shop, Ernie come out and said, "Hey, I want you to come into estimating." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he stopped me in the parking lot that evening. He said, "You can do this. You just need to keep your mind to it." And I said, "Okay." So here we are.
I had high expectations of what you did and how you did it. He was good to work for. He was outgoing. He just expected you to do your job and do it right.
Brenda was she was a hard worker herself, and she just stood behind Ernie and helped him with some decisions, I believe.
One of the big leaders, I believe, was Bill Dickerson, that was with Ernie, my understanding, from pretty close to the very beginning. Bill, God rest his soul, not everybody agreed with his approach, but Bill was a hard worker. He poured his heart and soul into this company, brought a lot of business to this company, built some very good relationships with customers, some of which are still with us today.
When I started, he was still an operator, and did a bunch of civil excavating work and underground utilities.
I actually got Bill his job, and we worked together down in the mines before this. And Bill worked a lot with me in the field, starting out, and then he'd come into the office. And he was another one that was a hard driver, if you will. He was good at heart, but he expected you to do your job and then some. He pushed you, he pushed everyone. You knew how he felt when he spoke to you. Bill was a good friend of mine, and he was a good person.
I believe Ernie got us into the dough run company, and the dough run company made us. And then I think they just hired more people. We got people in the office. They got more jobs. It just grew.
We had Doe Run and Signal was a big T&M clients, and we had others too, and we were bidding work out in the market, but those were our two biggest cash flow.
Places like River Cement, now Bootsy, Buckman, Calumet, some of these long relationships that we've had, we've adapted to their needs.
Ernie was old school, Brenda was old school, and it needed to change, and I think Nick and Corey just had brought that.
In order to grow the company, we had to take on bigger projects, and we had to take on projects outside of our market.
I'd say that's the turning point because it was consistent with how we wanted to grow the company.
It's like there's been some jobs that, like Hagerstown, that we really pushed us.
Yeah, Folsom, Hagerstown. I would think that would be the next thing that wowed me. That was a huge job. I remember counting days that I'd get 160 phone calls a day.
Now we've got, processes in place and management in place to maximize those opportunities.
I mean, I'd say something my dad did that we try to carry on is develop our own talent, especially give them the opportunity to learn and grow into the positions that they're in. As a lot of our people that are in our management positions are actually people that have came up through the business. Several of them grew up with me and Nick. Some of them graduated with us from around this area.
Nick is a leader. He's always there. He's got your back. Wants everybody to succeed, and then in turn, everybody's got his back.
I think you just gotta care about the people throughout the whole organization, that everyone truly cares about everybody else's safety and well-being. I think Corey as a leader is real confident and just intelligent. He challenges people to solve their own problems, and if they get stuck, then he's a sounding board and he'll give you his honest feedback.
Trying to just keep those core values in place to make sure that our culture doesn't shift away from that, I think is the key.
Lee had the attitude, there's no such thing as we can't do. We can do anything we set our minds to.
The people make this company, and it's really a family. The people that have been here for years, I think that speaks volumes. But I think it shows you that those people believe in this company and they really want to make a difference in a company that makes a difference really globally.
All those kids that work here, they were like my kids. They grew up around us all the time. So they were like family all the time.
Honestly, everyone looks at Lee and it's like, how are they doing this in this industry? And I truly think it all goes back to that family type atmosphere, that everybody is on board, everybody cares from the top down.
We definitely have a lot of long-standing employees and friendships that have evolved in that from all of the years of people being here. Even looking at our newsletter today, seeing 2 of our employees that are at 16 years, that just goes to show that culture of, embodies fun and awesome values, and that it's a good place to work.
Safety is definitely one. We also, honesty, truth in everything that we're doing. We want people to be upfront and honest in our dealings. That's one of the reasons we're able to maintain a lot of our long-term clients. So taking that ownership and accountability for everything you do, the honesty, the safety, the accountability, the hard work.
Lee Mechanical has always provided an opportunity for people in this area and now expanded areas to have a good livelihood that they can provide for their families. But not only that, if they want to take advantage of the opportunities, there's opportunities to learn, just like our welding program.
Things that the old man always said, he was just like, yeah, if you want to, don't come into this business. There is some stress in it for sure, but he did give us the tools to succeed in this business. And that's what I hope to be able to do with my boys too.
At Lee, I'm proud of the boys, without a doubt. It was never my goal for the boys to take over the business. I really discouraged them from trying to do it. I said, come on, boys, let's don't do this. No, Dad, this is what you've raised us up for. This is what we've got our education for, us to take over all the businesses. And I said, I know, but this one here is a tiger by the tail. And I said, I don't know if you guys really want this one. They went head first into it. When the boys had asked me, said, Dad, do you trust us? I said, yeah, but our model is trust but verify. And I seen them make decisions where no way I would have did that. But it turned out for them.
I'd say most proud of just where Lee Mechanical is. We're a successful company that tries to really make an impact in our community and our industry.
I think it's going to outlast me. I don't know what the future looks like when Corey and I are done, but it's definitely built to be around for a long time.